Hello and welcome to Ecoholics. In this video, we will discuss a very important 3 pillars for Indian Economic Service examination. If you are preparing for this examination as a postgraduate economics student or even in your graduation, these 3 pillars will help you to structure your preparation. Now, whenever we start moving towards a journey of any examination, if we know the roadmap, how to walk particular path in order to reach our goal, then these 3 pillars will help you in this same examination. It's similar to what you leave your home to reach certain destination by using a navigation. So in this video, I will discuss 3 major pillars that will give you the highlight, that will give you the intent and the roadmap, what exactly you need to do in this examination. For Indian Economic Service examination, I conduct 3 hours free workshop. The link is given in the description. So if you are interested in that, register it for free. Now, moving on to the video, these are the 3 pillars that we'll discuss in detail in this video. Number 1 is core syllabus, because this is the only thing that UPSC provides in detail. Second thing, after the examination, we get previous year question papers. So these 2 things are the pillar of our preparation. Under that, we have first one is core syllabus. Second is current affairs, because the exam is related to economics only, and if you do not integrate current affairs into your preparation, then it will create a lot of problem in answer writing, which is the most important thing. It means we need to represent in the written format. And the last pillar that we will discuss in this video is exam specific skills. What exactly you need, because you know economics, I understand. You are a topper of your college, you understand each and every concept well. But this is the third point where people struggle a lot. Why? Because they think that UPSC examination is similar to semester examination, or they generally fail to understand what exactly the exam requirement is. So we need to understand what extra skills we need apart from our own economics knowledge. So here you can say this knowledge you are already having, because somewhere or the other you have studied in post-graduation. Current affairs you will gain from, like Ecoholics provide weekly current affairs. So here you can read those, newspaper, magazines, there are so many things. But the third one is very, very important, where students make mistakes. So we'll discuss all these 3 one by one. Number 1 is mastering course syllabus. This is the first pillar that we are discussing. Under that, we have 5 division of that. Number 1 is basics. Now, whenever we talk about economics, if you are not well versed with basics of economics, what is basics? Like microeconomics, demand supply, opportunity cost, production possibility frontier. If we talk about macroeconomics, basics like national income, basics like Keynesian versus classical, the basic ideology. That is what important. So if you are not well versed with basics, go back to your school textbooks, NCRTs, or any textbook of 11th and 12th, and go back and study that, revise that. That is where you gain advantage. So in basics, economics. Now, if I talk about understanding the basics, generally people misinterpret basics means the basic study. It's not basic study. I was talking to one of the student. I was just taking mock interviews for this year's examination. One of the student got so nervous that she confused between classical and Keynesian. Now you can see that as a student of economics, classical and Keynesian, we understand everything like very, very conceptually clear. But still people get confused at the time when they put under pressure themselves, especially in the exam hall or in front of the interview panel. Now here we need to understand that what are the basics that we need to cover. Link with the second point, that is coverage. Now if I talk about coverage and basics together, in coverage if you see the syllabus, the majority of the syllabus covered by micro and Indian economy. If you find General Economics paper 1, almost 70% syllabus belongs to microeconomics. And if you see the paper 4, that is Indian economy, which is the 4th paper of economics, is a full paper of economics. So here you can say the dominance of these 2 subjects are there. Now, when the dominance of these two subjects are there, you need to strategize your preparation accordingly. If you focus much on other areas which have less coverage in the syllabus, obviously that will create a problem for you. As we call opportunity cost, reading will take more time, but output you will get is less. So here I can say 200 marks here and approximately 150 marks in microeconomics. Plus in general economics paper 3, you have industry, and that is where micro also comes into the picture again. So I can say GE3, here also you will find somewhere around 50 marks. So these two subjects put together consist of 400 marks coverage in the syllabus. So that's what I'm saying. The basics and coverage both are very, very important. I've just given a highlight of that. The third point, if we talk about here, is the sources. Now sources are very vital. Let me tell you why. Because suppose, for example, you are able to read only 10 pages and in 1 hour. So it means if you are reading for 3 hours in a day, it means 30 pages. And these 30 pages, if you have, suppose for example, in whole month if you are reading, so somewhere around 900 pages you will be reading. Now these 900 pages, if you are reading, how many months it will take you to cover the whole syllabus once? That is why sources are important. If you choose wrong sources, it will waste your time. Now imagine that in these 3 hours you are studying 3 different subjects. So covering one subject in 1 month, now 3 subjects in 3 months. In my another video, I've covered the syllabus coverage as well as how to revise. So go and watch that. Link is given in the description. But before that, you listen to this as well, because I have explained that thing in the detail. Now it will take somewhere around 3 months. Now here you need to understand, if you pick a wrong source, it will create a problem for you again. So here what is important, that sources we need to choose very, very carefully. If we do not choose sources carefully, it will waste our time, because we are living in the information age and we don't have any limitation on resources. It means we have multiple books, multiple websites, lot of resources, but what exactly to read and what is more important is what not to read. So here it is very, very vital. So coverage done, basics done, and sources done. Now we have numericals. So under numericals, you know the beauty of numericals, because if I say in UPSC, somewhere around 6 to 7 marks you will get in one question, 6 to 7. But if I talk about numerical, and if that numerical is right, you will get 9 out of 10 or maybe 10 on 10. Depends on 20, 30 marks, 25 marks, 18 marks. There are different marks. So beauty of numericals are, you will have the chance to gain full marks. And that is where you can do a lot of practice, like what we encourage our students to do, a lot of practice of econometrics, statistics, and mathematical economics. Because if you see the syllabus, the coverage is not very wide in terms of numericals. The coverage is small, but they go in depth. So that is where every year you'll find that in last 3 to 4 years, the question, or maybe not exactly the question, but the theme is repeating. So UPSC never repeats the question, but obviously the syllabus is limited. So they are repeating the theme, and that is where you gain the advantage. We at Ecoholics provide 6 years solved PYQs. So you can easily understand what's the trend, because last 3 years are very important. And if you go 3 more back, you will have almost all the coverage. So numerical done. Last we have is linkage. Now linkage is why important. For example, you are writing answers in General Economics 2 or reading something. How macroeconomics is related to international economics. How development economics is related to international economics. And how eco thought is linked with macroeconomics. So Why interlinkages or linkages in the points of the syllabus are important? Because if you see economic thought questions, they are not directly asking what is mercantilism. They're asking mercantilism versus physiocrats or maybe versus classical. So it's like UPSC is also running out of thoughts, running out of ideas and themes. So here you need to understand that if linkages are there, it will be very easy for you to write the answers. Because here you can see in general economics too, they have deliberately kept these three major topics or major subjects of economics: macro, international economics, and growth and development, so that they can ask interlinkage question in general economics too. Now this is interlinkage of the syllabus, but when I talk about interlinkage of the concepts, we will discuss in the last pillar of this particular video. But let me tell you in short that if you're writing something static, if you just put some topping of current affairs, that will give you an immense amount of edge in comparison to the competitors. Because people are writing current affairs, even if they are not asking, they're writing current affairs backed evidences, arguments. So it gives the idea to the examiner that you are well-read person or you're a well-read aspirant who understand what's going on in the current economy. So this is what I call linkages. We'll discuss more in the third pillar. Now we'll come to the second pillar, which is very, very vital. People generally ignore that because if you see the syllabus, you'll find majority of things are static portion. And when you cover static portion without integrating current affairs, that is where you lose marks. And a lot of people say, sir, UPSC doesn't give marks. I always say you don't know how to fetch those marks. So here you need to understand that integrating current affairs are very, very, very important. How to do that? Under this pillar, we will discuss 4 dimensions. Economy updates. It means sources like newspaper, sources like magazine, okay, sources like news, videos, etc. So what's going on in the economy, you need to know. What RBI is doing, what RBI is doing to control the inflation, what RBI is doing to control the depreciating rupee, what government is doing to reduce the debt, what government is doing in tax reforms, etc., etc. There's so much news going on always. So this is what we call economy updates, where in answer writing you can gradually put these things to gain advantage in marks. Next we have policy analysis. Policy analysis, I'll give you a very good example of that. You will never forget that. Now in 1991, when we implemented LPG reforms, liberalization, privatization and globalization, we gave companies right to entry in India. It means companies can come and do business in India. In 2002, Competition Act. So in 2002, companies got right to compete with each other. MRTP abolished, etc., etc. MRTP is monopolistic restricted trade policy. So that actually abolished and Competition Act introduced. So first right to entry, then right to compete. But in 2016, IBC introduced, that gave a right to exit to the company. If company is a failure, let them go, free up those assets and free up the resources of the economy, free up the labor and capital. So it's like similar to when companies got right to entry, then companies got right to compete, and then companies got right to exit. This is what we call policy analysis. It means you have to see how these things are moving, what is the agenda of the government, what government is trying to achieve from this policy, etc., etc. This is very vital, where people make mistakes and they don't understand what exactly is current affairs and what exactly is policy analysis. Another example, insurance in agriculture is a problem, but Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana is a game changer in that. Obviously that scheme has so many lacunas in implementation, but the scheme is beautiful. For an aspirant, it is very important to understand that features of the scheme should be written in the examination. Unless and until they will ask, critically analyze that. So here you need to understand that policy analysis is the part of the exam. Next, we have current trends in economics. What is current trends? If I say inflation is going up, so when I say inflation is going up, how? So if you don't have the data, you will not understand. If I say on PMI index, Purchasing Managers Index, which measures the manufacturing and service sector growth, if it is more than 50, it's growing. If it is less than 50, it's contracting. So how will you analyze the trend? Trend is very important. If I talk about fiscal deficit, if I talk about current account deficit, how will you get to know? On the basis of trends. So in economics, data in isolation never works. I always tell my students in my live classes as well that data in isolation never works. Always remember this. Data is always in comparison. When you see gold prices today, everyone sees at home also. But when you see the gold prices every year in the same month, you understand that gold prices are going up. So that is how the trend you need to analyze, and on the basis of that, those trends, you have to incorporate these things in the answer. Last, we have case studies and data. So under case studies, always remember the case studies are very, very important. Case studies, for example, India's 5-year plans. It's a case study. Like when India got its independence, why India adopted Herod-Domer model? I have made a video on that when Herod-Domer said that this model is for advanced capitalist economies, then why India adopted right after independence? We were not advanced capitalist economy, but still our policymaker adopted. So I told the reason in that video. You can watch that later, but 5-year plans are very, very important. So Herod-Domer in first, then Mahalanobis model, starting from agriculture, then shifted to manufacturing. What was going in the mind of policymakers at that time? That's a case study now, because Planning Commission is now no longer exist. It's Niti Aayog. So 5-year plans and case studies with data. Without data in economics, it's very difficult. If you are scared of data, I have a beautiful technique to remember data. Simple. If I say that repo rate is 25%, you will laugh at me. Because you know it is not related, nowhere near 25%. So what will you say? Sir, it's somewhere around 4% to 8% in last 10 years if you see. So what I am saying that data must not be like remember or rote learn in a cramming format like this is exactly. If you remember approximation, it will be very easy for you to incorporate in the answer writing. Plus, if you see data, somewhere around 50 to 60 data sets you need to remember, like debt to GDP, GDP rate, inflation, then different sectors, money and banking, we have several rates, policy rates. Apart from that, in foreign exchange, we have trade deficit, forex reserves, not more than 50-60. If you are the part of Indian Economic Service batch, you must have got this list of 50-60 data set that is important to learn and remember. So what I'm saying is, take out those 50-60 and how to take out that? Even if you're not the student, it's from newspaper. Simply, if you see the newspaper over last 6 months, you will find those 50-60 data sets. Let's move to the third pillar, and that's the last pillar of this particular video. Developing exam specific skills, and that is where majority people fail. And that is where in last 5-6 years, we have been given result from rank 1 to almost 80% of the students from Ecoholics. Majorly, we are focusing on these 4 things. Number 1 is answer writing. Why it is important? Because ultimately, whatever is there in your mind doesn't matter unless and until you'll be able to write it. At Ecoholics, what we do is we always suggest to the students, I will also suggest in this video, those who are watching this, that in answer writing, first you focus on writing. Because here, speed also matters. It's not just only the content. Content will come later. Speed is important. So you have to write approximately 30 words per minute in order to complete the paper. If you don't complete the paper, unfortunately, you'll not be able to qualify if you don't complete the paper. So speed is the most important thing. Then second thing is thought process. Because at that speed, you need to constantly generate thoughts for next 180 minutes, that 3 hours. And if thoughts are not keep on coming, then you will struggle in writing the answer. And then stamina. So apart from answer writing, first you need to work on your writing. Then we'll come to answers. So even if you think that you're not ready for answer writing, don't go for answer writing. Go for writing only. Open the news channel, try to write it. It will increase your speed. Calculate the speed and tell me in the comment section. What is your current speed per minute? How many words you can write per minute? That is very, very vital to manage. For answer writing, I have made a separate video, so you can watch that in detail. But here the most important thing to understand is answer writing is very, very important. Next is time management. Time management means in a paper you will get 180 minutes. If you do not manage your time properly, you won't be able to complete the paper. And if you don't complete the paper, you know the result. So what's important here is to complete the paper. Approximately 20 questions you will get 9 minutes. 9 minutes you will get 1 minute for thinking and reading the question. Approximately 7 to 8 minutes you have for writing each question, each and every particular area in that question. Under time management in preparation also. Planning is important. Now why planning means? One I say on duty plan and next one is off duty plan. Now you will say, what is this exactly? So one is on duty and another is off duty. Simply to understand, on duty means when you are studying. So majority people understand what exactly you need to do when you are studying. But other people, those who understand what exactly you need to do when you are not studying, actually plays a very important role. Like for example, if you get some time, go and sleep. Don't watch movie. Because if you watch movie, the movie will revolve in your brain. So before the examination, remain in that zone. Before your test on weekends, remain on that zone. So that is what I say, that time management in two things. One in exam hall and another in when you're planning. Planning means when you're studying and when you're not studying. So these are the small tips that I'm giving about time management. But very important thing when you're making your timetable, understand your current capacity. I always say to my students that if you are also listening, and tell me honestly in the comment section, how many times you have made a timetable and you're not able to follow that. I feel 99% of the time these things happen. Why? You know the reason? Because we make our timetable too unrealistic. Without understanding our own capacity, we make our timetable. We do not see how we spend our day and we overestimate our capacity and we make the timetable. That is why we fail to achieve that. And when we fail to achieve the timetable or follow the timetable, it is very disheartening and demotivating. And that is where people think these things are rubbish and we are not able to follow that. So what I say, understand your current capacity first and then it's like similar to cricket. You know the target, you know the runs to make, you know how many balls you have, how many wickets you have, and then you get the current run rate. So you realize that in every over I need to score this. On the basis of that, you make a plan. Every month I need to cover this. Every week I need to cover this. And then after week, every day I need to cover this. Next we have two very important things. Critical analysis. It means when you're reading newspaper, generally you find a perspective from the author, editor, or a person who's writing. But that critical analysis opens up our thought. It's like a coin, head or tail, but you have to see the vertical perspective of that coin as well. Because if media is saying this, government is saying that, You as an economist should able to see what is the neutral perspective. And that is where you develop your thinking or critical ability to write answer. So what I say that when you see positive, when you see negative, in between you need to understand. So like Gautam Buddha's Madhya Marg, वो चीज समझना जरूरी है. So that is critical analysis of each and every topic, like critical analysis of budget, economic survey, any government policies like PLI scheme, startup policy, make in India. So these are the things where you understand what went right, what went wrong, and what can be done. And that is where you gain the exam specific skills. And the last and the most important thing is revision strategy. If you do not revise, you will not be able to write it in the exam. I'm sure. You need at least 3 minimum revision. So after first reading, you need 3 revision. How to revise, I've covered in a separate video of 15 minutes. You can go and watch that. But in this video, I'll tell you few things about revision. Revision, generally what we do is, without understanding our own capacity, we do revise. Suppose we take up a syllabus of General Economics 1, 2, 3 and Indian Economics, that is 4 paper. But all 4 paper are not of equal strength. Those who are good in certain paper, they require less revision in that. And those who are not good in certain portion, they require more number of times the revision in that. So first thing is, revision is always uneven. Don't try to even that revision. Second thing, when we are doing revision, the frequency matters a lot. Some topic you need to revise daily, some topic you need to revise weekly, some topic monthly, some topic quarterly, or maybe some topic you just read it and it always there in your brain and mind. So here, revision is a key. And generally what I say, revision is not just reading only, is reading and reproducing. So if you're just reading, so read, write, then read. So read, write, read. Because when you read, you know everything I know. But when you write, you realize, oh, I'm able to recall only 2 or 3 points out of 10. Then what you know? The other 5, 6 I'm forgetting. Again I'll read. Then again I will write. And this is how you develop your revision strategy. So I hope you like this video. Don't forget to register free for our workshop. There's just 3 hours Indian Economic Service Masterclass where I tell you each and everything about the examination in those 3 hours. Registration link given in the description, which is absolutely free. Make sure you subscribe the channel to get more videos like this. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.